Welcome, everyone. So you're watching this on YouTube. So my name is Jennifer, and I'm from the Oakville Public Library. So I'm here with Dan Dawson today from the Toronto Rock. Hello, Dan.
Hey guys.
Yeah. So what I'm just going to start with is a land acknowledgement, just to acknowledge the lands that we are sitting on. So here we go. We would like to acknowledge that Oakville sits on Treaty 22 lands, and we share the land with the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation, and we thank them for their stewardship of the land. So there you go. So like I said, we're joined here today with Dan Dawson. He's a player for the Toronto Rock Lacrosse team. He originally hails from Oakville, now living in Burlington. We're just going to have a little short discussion about his love of lacrosse, whatever he's reading at the moment, and whatever else that might come up during the course of the conversation. However, before we start, we just like to acknowledge that the role that Indigenous people played in the history of lacrosse. So they were the ones that first played the sport, and it's Canada's oldest sport is lacrosse. Was first played by First Nations peoples over 500 years ago, primarily played for fun as part of the festivals or to prepare warriors or for hunting and battle. It was said that some teams had up to 1,000 players, could last several days, and was played on a field that was several kilometers long. And it was played to thank the creator for the life and gifts that they had been given. So just a little bit about lacrosse, the history of lacrosse, for those of you viewing that don't know the history of it. And I just want to go into a little bit about Oakville Public Library and our summer reading challenge. So this year, we're happy to team up with the Toronto Rock Lacrosse organization, and they have generously donated 2 prizes as part of our summer reading challenge. So you're able to put your tickets in and earn 2 prizes from Toronto Rock. One is a gift pack of Toronto Rock merchandise, as well as 4 tickets to a future game. So we encourage you to sign up for a summer reading challenge, and the more that you read, the more tickets that you can earn that you can put towards winning one of these great prizes. So we want to thank Toronto Rock for their generosity and support of our summer reading challenge. So that's just a little bit of background about why you're here, Dan, is that we've teamed up with Toronto Rock. So we just want to get a little bit into, tell us a little bit about yourself, your upbringing in Oakville. Just let us know a little bit about yourself and how you came to become part of Toronto Rock.
Yeah, that's first of all, great job. The introduction of the game. It's a medicine game, and it's a game that I'm learning a lot about. I started playing in the 6th grade, and not till I played for the first professional Indigenous owner, Kurt Stiers, did I really understand where the roots of the game was, and that was at 32 years of age. So I'm still learning about the game. I've been playing it for 20 some odd years. So the teachings behind the game are unlike any other. And it's really cool. I always tell kids, if you're ever looking for a project to do or for your summer reading, learn about the history of the sport because it's tied into our Canadian heritage as well. And it's really cool. Now, for me, my upbringing, I grew up in Oakville. My mom worked for the Oakville Trafalgar Memorial Hospital for 35 years. She went to OT, so she was an Oakville girl as well. And I make sure no matter where I go, I say I'm an Oakville guy. And I currently live in Burlington, but Oakville are my roots. And it was a great place to be raised. There was 4 of us. I had 2 older sisters and a younger brother. And I remember spending some time at the Oakville Public Library. For me, it was more in Glen Abbey at 3rd line there in Upper Middle. And before that was built, we did spend some time downtown. And I'm just proud. It's an amazing city, or I should say town. And I'll never forget where I come from.
Yes. Oakville is a great town to grow up in, and it's great to know the history and some things that were originally there are not there anymore, but you still, it's great waterfront and great downtown. So yes, Oakville is a wonderful town to grow up in. I'm glad I'm still not too far away from it, so I can, and I'm still connected to it. through my work at the library, so I can still spend some time there. Um, but you're a player for the lacrosse, Toronto Rock Lacrosse team. Can you tell us about what you like about playing, like what you love about playing lacrosse, how you came into the sport, what position you play, perhaps, and explain a little bit about
That's great.
that?
Yeah. So I've been playing professional lacrosse for roughly about 20 years. And this is my first full season with the Toronto Rock. Sorry, I got my little guy here. And, and for me, I started playing for the Oakville Minor Lacrosse Association. They're called the Oakville Hawks. And I didn't really understand that there was lacrosse could take me to where it's got me today, representing my country, travel the world, get paid to do something I love. The greatest part about lacrosse is the life lessons I've learned through sport. You know, self-motivation, determination, confidence, playing for something greater than yourself. Those all sound like a lot of cliches, but they are true. You're part of a team and you're part of something greater. And for me, that's the best part. You get to hang out with 20 of your best friends. You go to restaurants together. You travel on airplanes together, ride buses. And that's really the thing I'm going to miss about the game. I'm coming down to my final couple years playing this game, and competing is one part of the game, but being part of a cohesive group, that's what I'm going to
Yeah,
miss the most about it. And I'm sure it's like you with your colleagues at work. I always tell kids there's not many things in life where you're working by yourself.
yeah,
So whether it's minor sports or joining groups or clubs, dance, whatever it is, arts, reading clubs, get involved. You get to meet people, you get different perspectives on things, and that's how you're going to meet friends. And that's the best thing sports has done for me. It really has taught me so many valuable life lessons.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's true. If you're part of a social or athletic organization, you get to meet all sorts of people, and you get to connect with so many people, and that's what the library does too. Is that we connect so many people. If we're not connecting in person like we had done before, we're connecting over Zoom. And yes, I know from my nieces and nephews that sports does that a lot. They get to see their friends when they go and play hockey and
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So that's really really great. Just what's the most interesting place that you've traveled in the world as part of lacrosse?
that's a great question. I would say Prague. We went over there for the 2011 World Championships, and to think that there would be lacrosse played in Europe, you didn't really think. So the growth of the game is huge worldwide. There last, I think, 2 years ago in the World Championships, there was roughly 50 plus nations playing the sport, from Jamaica to the United States, Team Iroquois, all the way to Australia. So lacrosse growth is huge worldwide, and to see the European culture, I've never been over to Europe before, and that was pretty outstanding. And to represent 35 plus million people, even if they weren't watching, you felt like you were
Yeah,
you're representing the whole nation. You want to write them down, and we won the championship. So that was the cool experience I've ever had playing lacrosse.
yeah. You won the championships, you said? Was that world championships?
Yeah, so Team Canada has won 5 indoor world championships. We've never lost a game in the indoor game. And then there's in the outdoor championship as well, where we finished second to the United States. So we're always neck and neck. It's really Team Iroquois, Team USA, and then Team Canada are the top 3 nations in the world right now.
Oh wow. Wow, that's great. I didn't know anything. I didn't know that at all. So that's great to hear. And it's certainly piqued my interest in lacrosse, and I might come see a game whenever you get back to playing again.
Yeah, we'll get you guys in the arena, all
Yeah,
the staff there for all you guys do for your community.
yeah, yeah. So that's great. And I've checked our library and we've got lots of great books about lacrosse, and even about the ancient history of lacrosse and how it got started in Canada. So check out some of those books out of the library so I can learn a little bit more. So our summer reading challenge is one that we do every single year, and it's all about reading and encouraging a love for reading. So I wanted to ask you, Dan, about what are some of your favorite books that you took out of the library growing up? You said that you had used Glen Abbey a lot, so um, what are some of your favorites or that you have
So,
read?
yeah. So for me, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It was mainly me and my mom who would do most of the reading, and I did struggle with my reading. It was something that I didn't, I struggled with, so I shied away from it. I mean, most
Yeah,
kids, when they're not good at something, they shy away from it. So I struggled with
yeah,
my reading and my writing growing up. And later on in life, you become an adult, you go to university, college, you realize, listen, you're going to learn till the day you go on. And for
yeah.
me, I started learning and reading into my late teens, into my 20s. That's when I started reading more than what I did as a kid growing up. My favorite books would be like the Goosebump books, the typical ones that we would read when
Hmm.
we were a kid. There was, and going on past that, a couple sports psychology books, leadership books. Those are the kind of books I'm into now. I was not really into a lot of sci-fi stuff or fictional stuff. For me, it was more people's stories and understanding how they got to where they are, and learning from life lessons through them.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So you're currently reading. What are you currently reading? Is that like what, like you just said, the sort of leadership and like about people's stories? Is that what you currently like to read, or?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, there's a book that I always fall back on, and I've read it probably 6, 7 times now. It's called Mind Gym by Gary Mack, and it's a sports psychology book just on preparation for your mind when things don't always go your way. And
Hmm.
I bring that into everyday life, and that's, I think, lacrosse and sports is often a metaphor for life. When things don't always happen the right way in sports, but that's the same thing in life. And it's just your mindset, really focusing on your mindset on not, I have to do things, I get to do things,
Yeah,
and just getting over things really quick. And that's one thing I'm still learning. 38 years old. I mean, in the sport of lacrosse and in life, like I have so much I need to learn. And
hmm,
so often reading and getting different people's perspective on the same book that we're reading and
yeah,
talking about it, even with other teammates, you're like, oh man, I didn't really pick that up, but I see what you got from that book. And that's really cool, where you have that dialogue, and you read the exact same chapter, and he's like, no, this is what I took from it. And
yeah.
that's really cool with books.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great to be able to just delve into any and talk with other people about the exact same book and you come away with different perspectives.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's great to have a public library there that you can go and take learn as much as you can, and it's absolutely free. So
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah. Um, I love to read. I'm currently, I read all the time, like different genres and different things, nonfiction, fiction, children's books, adult books. And why do you personally think it's important to read? Why do you think people should read?
Well, one, you're going to be doing it your entire life.
Yeah,
And it's like mathematics. You're like, oh, when am I going to ever use this? And then you get on with the fire department, you're like, wow, I'm going back to grade 9 math. That,
yeah,
you're going to use it whether you're building a deck in the backyard,
yeah,
measurements, right?
yeah,
So everything you do and everything is literally reading. But
yeah,
it's maybe not like the olden days where it is a book or a newspaper. Most of it, a lot of time for kids, is a tablet or on the screen, which
mhm,
is fine as long as you're still reading. But if you can't communicate, it's a great way to communicate with people. I
yeah,
mean, right,
yeah,
through reading, and especially with emails now, you're going to need to have proper grammar and reading and writing skills.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You said you're a firefighter. Yeah, that's great too.
Yeah, I work
Um,
for the city of Brampton.
oh, okay, yeah. So how are you finding it? During this lockdown, how are you finding how you keeping yourself? And I know the firefighters are frontline workers, and thank you for your service. How are you finding the whole everything that's going on? How it's affected you personally about the lockdown or not being able to play lacrosse during this time?
It's been different. Probably adaptability has been, your greatest strength through this time, I
Yeah,
would think. And
yeah,
it's hard on everyone. We're,
hmm,
we're just trying to fight the good fight like anyone else. It's, when I say the fire department, it's, we're used to helping people on their worst day. That's the
yeah,
bottom
yeah,
line.
yeah,
Whether we make a small impact or a big impact, we try to, um, make sure people are doing okay after a given situation that has happened.
yeah,
It's just been tough that everyone's on isolation, and human interaction is, I would think, at an all-time low right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as humans, we long for that. And
Yes. Yeah.
unfortunately, we're following the government restrictions and guidelines, which is important. We do that. It's just that with guys like this, having the Zoom calls with you guys and family Zoom calls or friends in a group chat on a group video is important. And like I said, missing the guys in the locker room. It's not normal to go to eat with 20 of your best friends every week and meet every Tuesday night for practice and jump
Yeah.
on a plane with 20 of your best friends. So that come to a complete stop was tough for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. We're still meeting up, but it's in just a different format, and I've become sort of a Zoom expert since working from home and that sort of thing, and learning different ways to communicate with people, and just a whole new mindset of how to act during this pandemic that we're in, that hopefully will be over soon. So
yeah. And we're all learning. We're learning, right? We're learning through this together. And I think we live such an amazing country in Canada that everyone's very understanding, and you do your best, right? Some people that may be struggling, you try to help them out and maybe reach out to them a little bit more than you have in the past, right? Make sure they're doing okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should help each other out during this time. Yeah. So, is there anything else that that you'd like to add or say? And
no, I would say that the books that I read right now are books like this: Pajama Time, Invisible String.
Yeah.
This one's chewed up pretty good. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
That one.
So I'm a kid book reader because I got 3 boys under 5, and it's helping my vocabulary and my reading skills. We're getting back to those children books, so it's fun, and I appreciate you guys for all you do, supplying Oakville with some awesome stuff. And I know all the programming you do in there, not a lot of people know about, but it is something really cool. I've been there with my boys, so thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's our pleasure to connect the community and provide resources for the community, and it's great that you read with your children. It's a very important thing to do, as connecting and helping them learn to read. So that's wonderful. I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. You certainly piqued my interest about lacrosse and some of your sports psychology books. So I'm going to check those out. We want to thank Toronto Rock for their support of our program and their generous prize donations. And for more information on lacrosse or sports, we have some reading lists that you can check out. They'll be in the comments below, and we'll put that together for you so you can put your holds on and come and pick them up. So thank you again so much, Dan, for taking the time today to speak with us, and it's been a real great pleasure.
Thank you so much. And I wouldn't do my good friend Jim Calder. He wrote a book called The Ancient Game. It's an awesome read on the history of the game and the indigenous roots on where the game comes from. It was a gift given to us by the indigenous people. It's an amazing book, and I'm sure you guys have it, but it's Jim Calder, The Ancient Game.
And we actually do have it.
There you go. Yeah, it's an amazing book. So everyone should read that and pique their interest a little more on the sport of lacrosse.
Yeah. So just thank you again, and just for everyone out there who's watching, to join our summer reading club. There's some great prizes that you could win. Just go to our website, www.opl.ca, and click on summer reading, and they'll give you instructions on how to join. And thank you everyone for joining us, and have a safe and happy summer.
See you guys.